The aliens are returning and contact may be imminent. Here's what to know about extraterrestrial contact. In this video, I will share some history of extraterrestrial contact, UFOs, UAPs, starseeds, as well as science, prediction, and channeled information pointing to that the aliens are returning and imminent extraterrestrial contact is at hand. At the end, I will share with you a very powerful and simple exercise that you can use to safely and effectively connect with your extraterrestrial guides and prepare for the shift that's already at hand. Stay with me because the next few minutes may completely change how you see the future of humanity. Our story begins in 48 BC when the first of several fires destroyed ancient records at the Library of Alexandria in Egypt. Thousands of volumes around the history and evolution of humanity, as well as the interaction with extraterrestrial beings, got destroyed. But based on what we're able to understand through oral traditions and what records did survive the fire, as well as information provided through researchers and channels like myself and others, we've been able to understand human evolution to most likely, or I'd say definitely, to be cyclical rather than linear in nature. So in other words, humanity has flourished and it's risen up but wound up destroying itself based on the misuse of power, the misuse of technology, as well as natural events that were going on. And humanity, in a sense, had to start over from the very beginning, from the very primitive, but those that had escaped the disruption were able to move to other lands. Like, for example, how the Atlanteans, some of them traveled to Egypt and really began to introduce advanced cultures to the more ancient or primitive people there. So in any event, thanks to pioneers like Dolores Cannon and channeled information, tons of information has been coming out about our distant roots as well as our connection with extraterrestrial beings with remarkable consistency, and that's emerged. Thousands of people being put under hypnosis describing the same beings, people from different walks of life, different areas of the planet. So it's remarkable, and it's very likely, although not definite, that humanity and possibly the entire planet was seeded by extraterrestrials. It is likely that the Earth was actually terraformed and prepared to house life, or even constructed for our own advancement as souls having human experiences, including the diversity of plant and animal life that we experience and come to know and love here on planet Earth. We can now identify many different extraterrestrial types from different places, like the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Lyrians, the Syrians, the Orions, and the list goes on and on. Apparently, they've identified over 100 different possible extraterrestrial types. So we have means of identifying them, and it's very likely that humanity was seeded by different extraterrestrial groups. And about 200,000 years ago, humanity made the leap from proto-human to modern human. And the only theory that really checks all the boxes is that proto-human was seeded by advanced races from other star systems, basically. And whichever superhuman gifts that we possess exist within the dormant DNA strands from these extraterrestrial races. And once we evolve to certain thresholds, as we cultivate higher energies, through our spiritual evolution, then we start to unlock the inner secrets. We start to awaken dormant DNA, and we start to awaken hidden, dormant, supernatural abilities. And there's many different ones. Some people have already unlocked some of those. Some people, and more to happen, basically. So also there are new soul star seeds on the planet, here directly from their celestial origins. So they're basically emissaries or teachers that come into the human experience because that's part of the rules of this reality. They may forget who they are and then remember, but they come here as new souls packed with information here to guide us. And as well, there are extraterrestrials that don't come in human form that are interacting with humanity that we can learn to tap into and receive their guidance and benefit from it, basically. So signs of ET interaction can be seen in the ancient myths and legends, stemming from pre-Pharaoh Egypt, said to be where some of the ancient Atlanteans arrived, preserving some of their ancient gifts and advancements, to like ancient Sumatra, where the legends has it that the Anunnakis were not gods, but were actually extraterrestrial beings. And some people believe that they were more warlike and aggressive, where humanity got part of its warlike nature from. Then we see it in the ancient Greek, Roman, Nordic, Celtic gods, goddesses, etc. Some of them are part animal, part human, like Sekhmet, the lion goddess, that we believe is a Lyran star seed that came to Earth to help to teach the ancient Egyptians a more advanced technology and knowledge, based on, again, research that shows that the feline people came from the Lyran, the Lyran constellation, basically. So where are we? And recent research, as well as channeled information, strongly suggests that. Now the aliens are returning. They never really left, but as we are approaching higher levels of our own collective awakening, they return to both guide us in our evolution, as well as to help prevent us from making the same mistakes as we did in the past that caused us to revert back to being primitive and having to start over again, basically. So the first thing that got their attention, we'll put it that way, was when we started detonating nuclear bombs and devices. And as we know, right in the later 40s and 50s, there were tons of sightings of UFOs, flying saucers, and all that stuff after the detonation of of nuclear bombs, basically. Now, we were given many, many gifts, including the gift of fusion, which can provide unlimited power, of an unlimited power source to fuel our society in a much more advanced way than these flimsy wires that are hanging outside of myself that go out when the first puff of wind blows, basically, and can provide an unlimited power source to fuel society. But it started to get misused as weapons of mass destruction, basically. So post World War II, many saw UFOs. Many sci-fi stories started to evolve, basically. And recently, with the development of AI technology and other technologies, they understand that we are on the threshold of a major spiritual technological awakening right now that could carry humanity into a golden age. But humanity must evolve past the primitive mindset ruled by the undisciplined ego first, that requires spiritual evolution, basically. For those are the seeds of the same advancement, that being AI and other things that we're starting to develop now. Those are the same advancements that ultimately led to humanity's demise. So the question is, how many times does humanity have to go through the same cycle, get very advanced, only to misuse the technology, to be too in the ego, too in the pride, and disconnected from great spirit or source, to misuse and have to start over again? And that's the question. So they're here to guide us, to try to help us to become more evolved so we can properly use this developing technology, which is part of human awakening. It's part of human evolution, rather than to misuse it as power over others, and to really identify like the ills of society, basically the misuse of power that's already happening, with the government using technology to program the masses and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, this is why the aliens are returning, and there will be many more sightings. Many more will be contacted. If you are ready, you may be next, or perhaps it's already happened for you. So here's how to initiate contact and receive information from that. And please, if you're enjoying this contact, please like this and share it so more people can benefit from this. This is our human evolution and revolution right now. And if you enjoy this contact, subscribe to the channel, then more of our videos will come up on your homepage. So the first thing that you must do is cultivate presence, and you can do that through meditation practice, as well as to cultivate, well, to open the heart and cultivate the frequency of the heart, the master frequency. And you can do that through a process that I call heart, brain, spirit coherence, which is right above me right now. Do this and practice this, and that's going to set the right foundation for you to safely open to these higher energies, to be able to initiate and to sustain contact and connection with your extraterrestrial guides. And that's going to help you to awaken your dormant gifts and to understand what your life purpose is in this new and evolving earth during this time of accelerated human evolution, basically. So it's through heart-brain coherence, you blend with spirit and raise your vibrations and open enough to safely initiate contact. This meditation will teach you how to do that, and it is the ideal prepper for you. So next thing is, once you do that and you feel confident, you always set your intention. You always want to get present, get your thinking mind out of the way before you do any process that involves spiritual growth or connecting to any levels of spirit, including extraterrestrial intelligence. And you can go outside, which I recommend, and gaze at the stars, or you can be inside and light a candle. Get very relaxed, get present. Open your heart, again, feel grateful, compassion in your heart. That opens your brain and connects you more with spirit. And set your intention to make contact with your extraterrestrial guide. That could be visual, but more likely telepathic. Then call them in. But here's how to call them in. What you want to do, so understand that emotions are the battery of change. Emotions are magnetic in nature, whereas your thought is electrical. So when you open your heart and you set an intention, you are completing the electromagnetic circuitry of the heart and the brain, and that is very, very powerful. So I want to set my intention that I want to connect with them. But you want to feel a longing, almost like a sadness, almost like a despair. And again, you're cultivating these emotions. They're controlled emotions and feelings. It's not that you want to be depressed. You're just cultivating that. There's a difference. And you want to feel almost like a sense of despair, a longing that you want to go home, that you miss your guides, that there's so much a part of your life. You really want to feel that and cultivate that and really own that and feel that and hold that, basically. So you again feel a powerful longing to reconnect with your ET guides, to remember them, then reconnect. Channel those emotions. That's the energy emotion combined with the intention, or electrical and magnetic, and with practice you will attract them. Cultivate that longing, loneliness, and sadness and separation. The more you can feel this while in presence, the more that you're going to be able to magnetize them, and keep practicing and doing it. And it's going to happen for you sooner or later. And you may want to journal and write down what you get, and it'll be very, very profound for you, as it happens and as it unfolds. It's a journey, it's a process. You reach different levels, and you may find that you have more than one group. Like, I'm mostly Arcturian. I relate to the Arcturians I have since I was a little kid, before I even knew who they were, basically, as well as the Lyrans, the Pleiadians, and a few other groups, and you might do the same. So there's definitely other ways and other techniques that you can use. So I have another video over here to help you to do that. So there's several other techniques that you can use to augment this one. And over here I'll flash another video on how to do heart-brain coherence. So I think you'll find those very useful, and practice this, and it's going to make a huge difference to yourself, and you're going to be able to help humanity in the process. I love you.